What's up, you guys? Stoopzz back again, and after many requests, I'm finally bringing you my Elemental Shaman guide for 7.32. Following this guide, I will be releasing a Resto Shaman guide as well as a Holy Paladin guide, and this is just going to be a general overview. By far one of my favorite casters currently in Legion. You just have so much utility. It's really viable right now, and I think you guys will have a great time playing this class following this guide. Now, just like all my previous guides in the past, we will cover our general talents, our honor talents, and then I'll go over some simple tips and tricks as well as just my general thoughts of the Elemental Shaman class. So hopping right into it, again, this is just a general overview. I've been playing this class around 2200-ish MMR. I want to give you guys a simple, easy, digestible guide where you can just pick these talents and then explore further down the road. Now, for the first bracket in your general talents, the level 15 bracket, you're going to go with Path of Flame. It just increases your lava burst damage, and it has a chance to spread your flame shock, which is really crucial in keeping up those instant procs on your lava bursts, which works well with Lava Surge. Flame Shock has a 15% chance to reset the cooldown on your next lava burst, and it makes your next one an instant cast. For level 30, you're gonna go with Gust of Wind. Is that little mobility talent that you see shamans have. It's just essential for the extra mobility with your Ghost Wolf. You can Ghost Wolf into your Gust of Wind. It's great for BGs, and obviously very, very important for 2s and 3s in Arena. For level 45, it's completely optional. You can go with the Stun Totem that you see a lot of shamans using. You can opt for Earth Grab, which just roots all enemies, or you can even choose Voodoo Totem, which is great for Walking Dead. It's really good versus Destro Warlocks to stop their Chaos Bolts. It's great versus Turbo, any Mongoloid melee comp. If your team doesn't need the extra Hex, if they can dispel Hex, if you want to stop goes, Voodoo Totem is great for that, but all of these options are viable. It just really depends on your comp and what your allies need the most. For level 60, all of these choices are viable. A lot of players in the beginning were using Aftershock because it restored your Maelstrom when casting spells. However, lately, everyone is preferring to use, or mostly everyone is preferring to use Ancestral Swiftness, which is just bonus haste, which is great for off healing, great for CCing, and also great for just doing pure damage. For level 75, you're going to opt for Elemental Fusion, which gives you an extra 5% chance to proc Lava Surge, which again gives you those instant cast lava burst. Now, similar to Resto Shamans, Elemental Shamans also have Echo of the Elements, which gives you 2 charges on your lava burst, which is obviously great when working with Lava Surge. The more lava bursts you have, the more damage you can do, the more instant procs you can get, the more you can cast them. It's a great overall talent, and it helps sustain your overall damage output. Now, for level 100, you're going to opt for Ice Fury. Ascendance and Lightning Rod are fun for BGs and other scenarios like that, but again, this is a general arena guide to get you guys started, and Ice Fury helps with a lot of burst potential, and it also sustains your damage. It's a great way to also build Maelstrom. So for arena purposes, you want to have different casting schools of spells. You want to be able to cast something else if you get locked on your nature. If you get locked on fire, then you can cast Ice Fury. It's really good for those scenarios, and again, it helps with that burst damage. So I personally like Ice Fury as well as many other high-rated players. Now, hopping right into our honor talents, it's really situational. The first bracket, like all of my guides, generally, you want to go with Gladiator's Medallion. If you're an Orc, you can try Relentless, and Adaptation is good if you know that they have a lot of CC, but just for starters, just pick Gladiator's Medallion and work your way up from there. Having haste is always a great thing, so Mind Quickness is what you're going to choose for the second bracket. It gives you an additional 6% haste, which works really well with Ancestral Swiftness, which also gives you 6% haste, so that's 12% haste bonus. Now, you are playing an Elemental Shaman, and most likely you're going to be playing with a healer. Most likely you're going to be playing in a caster comp. You can play with the melee comp, but it's better off for you to choose Sky Fury Totem, which benefits you and your healer and is my personal favorite choice. Now, for the next bracket, all these options are still viable. Swelling Waves is the go-to. It makes it so that when you cast your Healing Surge, you repeat the same cast on yourself 3 seconds later, but it's an instant cast, so you get double the healing output. However, in the tooltip, it says you are healed again for the same amount. This is incorrect. They have not fixed this tooltip yet. It's half of the amount. So you are healed again 3 seconds later for half the amount instantly. This is really good when you're hiding behind a pillar and you want to top yourself. You want to save your healer some mana. Elemental Shamans have amazing off heals, especially on themselves when you are using the Swelling Wave talent, but you can also choose Spectral Recovery, which just gives you a passive heal in your Ghost Wolf form for 3% every 2 seconds, and it also increases your movement speed by 10%. So if you feel that you're not going to be getting a lot of casts off, if they're going to be sitting on you a lot of the game, then maybe Spectral Recovery is an option you should explore. Now, since you're running Ice Fury, you're going to opt for Fire and Ice for this next bracket. It makes it so that your Frost Shock and Flame Shock consume no Maelstrom, which is really good when you're trying to build up your Earth Shock stun, which we'll get to in a second. It makes it so that you don't have to have full Maelstrom when you're using your Ice Fury, and it also increases the duration of your Frost Shock and the damage of your Frost Shock, as well as increasing the duration of your Flame Shock. So it makes it easier to keep your Flame Shock up, it makes it easier to kite, and it increases the damage again of Ice Fury. So it's an all-around amazing pick when you are choosing that Ice Fury talent that we talked about a little bit ago. Now, just a second ago, we talked about that Earth Shock stun, which you want to build up all the time. It's a great burst opportunity, it's a great way to set up kills, and you're going to spec into this talent called Earth Fury. When you're building up this blue bar for Maelstrom, you're going to see that when you hit 100, your Earth Shock is going to start to glow with this talent. That means it's ready for a stun, and it's going to do an insane amount of damage at 100% Maelstrom, and it is a great way to stun the target in the open to continue using your Stormkeeper, maybe into an Ice Fury, maybe into some instant cast Lava Burst. It's a lot of extra damage, and it's a great significant stun, and I've noticed that it does not DR with other stuns. I'm not sure if that is intentional, but for me, I've noticed that it has not been DRing other stuns. Well, if you read this talent over here called Swelling Maelstrom, it increases the maximum Maelstrom and the cost of Earth Shock by 25. So the maximum cost is increased by 25, and your maximum Maelstrom is increased by 25. So technically, when the bar is full, this ability will glow, that meaning that you can stun. However, it doesn't have to be completely full for you to stun. I believe it's 80%. So when it's almost full, you can then stun the target. So it's a little bit of a glitch, I guess you would say. It should glow a little bit earlier before this blue bar at the bottom is completely filled. That's a little off-putting. You might get confused at first, but if you test it out and you practice with this, you'll notice that you do not need a full blue bar of Maelstrom to stun the target. Now I'm just going to go over some quick general tips here. For the Elemental Shaman, remember that everything kind of revolves around Lava Surge, as well as Elemental Fury, as well as your Mastery Elemental Overload. Basically, when you're casting your Chain Lightning and your Lava Burst, you'll notice that you might get an extra cast, like I did right there. That is your Elemental Mastery Overload. This helps you generate additional Maelstrom, put out additional damage, and getting that extra Maelstrom is crucial when you're trying to land those open setup stuns with your Earth Shock. And as far as Lava Surge goes, you just want to make sure that you're keeping your Flame Shock on all targets. The more Flame Shocks you have up, the more you're going to trigger this ability, giving you those extra casts of your Lava Burst, and you might even proc some of your Elemental Overload on that as well. So you can get some crazy procs, a lot of crits, and if you're critting, you're doing a lot more damage with your Elemental Shaman. So it really revolves around that talent, that combo, keeping up your Flame Shock, casting out those instant cast Lava Bursts. When you don't have a proc, go ahead and cast one anyway. You want to build up that Maelstrom, but if you have Flame Shock running on everything, like in a BG, in 3v3s, in Arena, if they have pets, the more Flame Shocks you keep up with Path of Flame, the more Elemental Overload procs you can get, the more instant cast Lava Bursts you can get, meaning you can build up more Maelstrom to get that stun. So while you're keeping your Flame Shocks up, you're going to be spamming out these Lava Bursts. After you get all these Lava Bursts out, make sure you have your Sky Fury up. You can go for an Ice Fury to get an extra proc of Maelstrom to do extra damage. Ice Fury hits really hard when it crits. It hits extremely hard when it crits. It can kind of hit like a wet noodle. I mean, it still hits decently hard, but if you don't get any crits on it, it might hit like a noodle. But if it does crit on the Frost Shock, on the initial damage, you can literally put someone from almost 100 to 0 in one Ice Fury if you get a lot of crits, followed by some Lava Burst into an Earth Shock stun. So again, Lava Burst comes first. Lava Burst is primary. When you don't have any Lava Burst action going on and you're out of charges like I am right now, you can go into casting a Lightning Bolt. If they're stacked, you can go into casting a Chain Lightning. You can also opt to use your Ice Fury to build up additional Maelstrom and spam out your Frost Shocks, which is also a great way to slow people. Remember, when you're speccing into Fire and Ice, this talent over here, it doesn't cost any Maelstrom to Frost Shock people. So you can Frost Shock this guy over and over, and you can keep slowing this target. So you can kite away with your Ghost Wolf, you can keep Frost Shocking him, hitting with instant Lava Burst, jump in the air with your Gust of Wind, just to make sure you keep your Flame Shock up at all times, as it does give you those procs again, and it always makes your Lava Burst crit. So usually I'll summon my elementals and I'll do that same rotation that I showed you guys earlier, and then I kind of save my Stormkeeper for a later time. I'll get to that in a second, but I'll open with my Ice Fury to get my extra Maelstrom to start out with some nice burst damage. I'll make sure Sky Fury is down for this. And then finally, when they start to retreat, you'll see people retreating, right? I'm rotting different people. I'm swapping targets with Lava Burst. And when the enemy retreats or they stack and they go behind a pillar, then I'll opt to use my Stormkeeper. Maybe I'll drop an Earthquake back there and I'll leap over and I'll spam my instant cast on my Stormkeeper. You can also use your single target Stormkeeper using just your Lightning Bolt. However, if they're stacked, it's better to use your instant cast Chain Lightning, as it will generate additional Maelstrom if they are stacked. And it's really just rinse and repeat, you guys. You keep slowing the targets, you keep dropping your totems, you keep Frost Shocking people. When they connect, you can knock them back, You can kite away with Ghost Wolf. You can go behind a pillar. You can heal yourself. You can heal your allies. You can hex the target. And then you continue this damage rotation over and over and over again. If you get locked on Lava Burst, you can go into your Ice Fury. If you get locked on Ice Fury, you can go into your Lightning Bolts. And it's just rinse and repeat, waiting for the opponent to stack to go in for that Deadly Stormkeeper where you can spam your Chain Lightning over and over and over again because it does increased damage and it generates additional Maelstrom. Now finally, I will include a Flame Shock macro that I have for Arena. It just makes it so I press one button and it'll Flame Shock each of the enemies inside of the arena, so you don't have to target them and then press Flame Shock. Whenever you target an enemy, it'll instantly Flame Shock them, and there's really never going to be a moment where you're going to target somebody and then not want to Flame Shock them. So I'll put that macro in the description box below. I will also put my macro guide in the description box below, which will teach you how to implement this macro for all classes because it's useful for all classes if you're interested in that. But again, this Flame Shock macro is an easy way to keep up Flame Shock inside of the arena. Now, as far as comps go, Elemental Shamans have a ton of comps you can choose from. They work well with any spellcaster comp right now. They almost work well with any melee. They work well with DKs, Demon Hunters, Windwalkers, Warriors, even Rogues. They work well with so many classes, and that's when you know a class is really strong, right? When it can be thrown into any comp and thrive. This is due to their off-healing ability. This is due to their raw sustain damage as well as their insane burst potential. This is due to their ability to kite. They're relatively tanky. They have decent CC. They have a lot of interrupts. They have great support benefits with Sky Fury, and again, they're off-healing, so Elemental Shaman is in an insane place. I'm not saying it'll stay buffed forever, but for now, if you have a Shaman, give it a shot. I will be writing a blog review. Now, I know this was just a general overview for the Elemental Shaman. If you want something more in-depth, let me know in the comment section below. However, I will be doing a blog post by the time you see this video. I just updated my Moonkin one. I'll be writing a full in-depth review on the Elemental Shaman, showing you all of their benefits, what they work well with, giving you statistics, and then probably giving you a little bit more depth on the class and where they specifically excel. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description box below where you can check out this blog post for yourself. But that's gonna be for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. If you have any more questions regarding Elemental Shamans, if you're excited for my Resto Shaman guide, if you're excited for the Holy Paladin guide, you can let me know in the comment section below and I'll get back to you guys right away. Try not to miss me on my YouTube and my Twitch. I'm on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays live stream where I answer all of you guys' questions in depth. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.